Cool. Welcome back, guys. Hope you had a lekker lunch. You guys are in for a treat at the BTrust stage. At the moment, we've got Tuckett doing his self-custody workshop. Every year, it's normally a sellout. We normally have people can't fit into the room. It's a bit more quieter this year, but hopefully we got one or two more guys coming in. He's also got an awesome YouTube channel that you need to check out, The Southern Bitcoiner. I'm sure he'll mention it somewhere in his talk, but he's got awesome videos on self-custody, tutorials about all kinds of things Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm not going to take up too much time. I'm going to hand over to Tuckett. Please put your hands together. Give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. All right, so today we're talking Bitcoin self-custody, securing your digital wealth. So this, like Tyron mentioned, this is my third year doing this exact same talk. I run the Southern Bitcoiner on YouTube with roughly 500,000 views. And what I do is I work with people one-on-one to build their self-custody setups. And we've helped secure millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin to date. I don't know exactly how many that is because we're private by default. Okay, so in this workshop, we start from the beginning. This is for complete beginners. So we start with the fundamentals of self-custody so that you can understand the core concepts first. You need to understand the technology underneath the wallet you use before you secure any large sums of Bitcoin. So once we understand the basics, we're going to set up a real Bitcoin and walk through a Bitcoin wallet and walk through backup and recovery. So I'm going to need at least one of you to set up a wallet with me. I'm going to send you Bitcoin, and then I'm going to teach you I'm going to show you how I'll steal it from you using the seed phrase. So these setups are for learning. Today we're just learning. This isn't long-term storage. You should not use this wallet, but you need to replicate this process yourself later at home with your own funds. So like I said, we start with the basics, and the first question is, what actually is Bitcoin? And the answer is Bitcoin is digital money. It's secured by a decentralized network of computers. These are the Bitcoin nodes. These nodes maintain a blockchain, which is a ledger that tracks every transaction. So a blockchain exists online, and it tracks who owns what Bitcoin. That's basically what Bitcoin is. What is a Bitcoin wallet? So you have to secure something that's completely digital. Bitcoin doesn't exist in the real world. It's digital. And unlike a physical wallet, a Bitcoin wallet doesn't actually store Bitcoin. You can't store Bitcoin. Instead, you store special keys that allow you to spend your Bitcoin. So that's a very important thing to understand. These keys that you have allow you to receive and send Bitcoin. So this is a high-level look at this. So your coins exist on the ledger, on the blockchain. Your keys let you spend those coins, and your wallet is simply a tool that stores those keys. And yeah, Bitcoin wallet is not a very accurate term because wallets typically store physical things, coins and cash, but Bitcoin wallets store keys. All right, so here's a look at what some of these keys look like. They look really long, technical, and complicated. These are some private keys. These allow you to spend your Bitcoin, and these are public keys that let you receive Bitcoin. Luckily, we don't have to use these long keys anymore. Bitcoin's become much easier in the modern day, and that is thanks to seed phrases. So you may have heard the term BIP39 seed phrases. This is a standard we use to create words that make backing up your Bitcoin wallet a lot easier. And here's a bit more information. So this is a 12-word seed phrase from Blue Wallet, and there's a 24-word from Sparrow. And these are simply human-readable backups created by your wallet during the setup of your wallet. These words derive all the individual keys that your wallet needs. So if I go back two slides, your seed phrase generates all of these keys for you without you even realizing it. It's happening behind the scenes. And that's what makes modern Bitcoin wallets so easy to use. If you restore the same seed phrase into a different Bitcoin wallet, you'll see the same Bitcoin because it's deriving the same keys. Like I said earlier, the keys are what access your Bitcoin. The Bitcoin wallet is simply a tool you use to store those keys. So there we go, we can see as well the seed phrase derives all the keys you need. And as long as you have your seed phrase, you have your Bitcoin. So you may have seen people backing up seed phrases in things like metal, and that is why, because the seed phrase is what needs to be built to last the long term. So next, what is self-custody? Every single Bitcoin is in some sort of wallet. So every Bitcoin is in a wallet or belongs to a set of keys, and this is either your wallet or it's somebody else's. When you hold coins with someone like Luno or Valor, these are exchanges, they are holding the keys that access your Bitcoin, and therefore it's custodial. These are most commonly exchanges. Next, we have non-custodial. So this is when you hold your own keys. When you set up a wallet like Sparrow or Blue Wallet, or here's Blockstream Green, you generate your own seed phrase. Therefore, you're taking self-custody. And of course, at the bottom, self-custody means that you control the keys of your wallet, and you are the true owner of that wallet. If you have Bitcoin inside of Luno or Valor, it's not yours. It's theirs. They just promise that if you withdraw, they'll give it to you, but history is full of breaches of that trust. Okay, so to take true self-custody, first you need to set up a wallet. So we're going to run through that a bit later. We'll set up Blue, we'll take a look at Sparrow, and here's just Blockstream Green, which I used in previous examples last year. And what you need to do is open your Valor or your Lunar account and actually withdraw from those accounts to your new wallet once it's set up and ready to go. And now we'll talk a bit about why self-custody is important. Firstly, for freedom. Satoshi gave us this technology for a reason, and that is to take true ownership of your wealth. Bitcoin's censorship resistant, it's freedom money, and trusting third parties with your Bitcoin defeats that purpose completely. So Satoshi gave us this tech to hold your money. If you're just holding it with Luno or Valor, what's the point? There's no point. Secondly, you're eliminating counterparty risk. So when you have your coins on an exchange, you're also trusting them to store them securely. And of course, we all know if you've been in Bitcoin for a while, that always goes wrong. It seemingly always goes wrong. And I've got a few examples here. So history, let me actually point out Satoshi's quote here. He says, the root problem with conventional currency is that all the trust that's required to make it work. The central bank must be trusted not to debase the currency, but the history of fiat currency is full of breaches of that trust. And breaches of trust is a very common theme in self-custody. History is full of breaches of that trust. We have FTX. I'm sure who knows FTX? Yeah. So they lost $8 billion in customer funds. And at that point, they were the third largest exchange in the world. They collapsed in 2022 because of just complete mismanagement of customer funds. So you trusted them to have your Bitcoin. You know, you opened FTX, you saw, here I've got 50,000 Rand worth of Bitcoin, but it didn't actually exist. It was just numbers on a screen. And here we have two more examples. We had Celsius, which allows you to earn yield. That's funny, because someone else is promising yield these days. And Quadriga was one of Canada's largest crypto exchanges, and the CEO just died one day, mysteriously, and vanished. $250 million worth of Bitcoin gone. Okay, so now we'll look at actually setting up a Bitcoin wallet, and I'm a firm believer the best way to master self-custody is to practice. And to do that, you set up wallets, and you practice with small amounts. You take 200 Rand, whatever it might be, and move it around. And if you lose a small amount, that's not nice, but at least it's a small amount. So that's what I highly recommend you do. You practice with something small. And we'll go ahead now. We're going to set up a Blue wallet, and we'll back up and restore that wallet. So if you want to follow along, please download Blue Wallet on the App Store. I'll need at least one of you to do this, so I can send you some Bitcoin. And we're going to look at recovering that wallet into a different wallet as well. So I'll go to the next slide here. And there we go, Blue Wallet. So Who's going to download Blue? Do any of you have Blue already? Okay. So we have at least one person, right? Yeah. Okay, sweet. I'll give you 2 minutes, so anyone who wants Blue downloaded, we'll have 2 minutes to do that. There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, I see a lot of Blue wallets. That's good. All right, so let's move on from here. We're going to quickly set up Blue Wallet. So all of you who have it downloaded can now follow these steps. We're going to create your first seed phrase, and we'll take a look at some Bitcoin addresses, how to receive, how to send, and so on and so on. So, yeah, sure. Sure, yeah. Ready. Okay, does anyone else is still downloading Blue? So we're all good. Okay. So once you're in Blue Wallet, you should see this screen here. It says Add a Wallet. So you'll just click on Add Now, and then make sure you're selecting Bitcoin. This screen might look different today, but just make sure Bitcoin's selected, put a name on the wallet, and you click on Create. Very easy. Give it a name, of course, create, and then we should be in business. Good. Okay. Now, you should see a seed phrase on your screen. This is exactly what we've been talking about. This seed phrase derives all the other private and public keys your wallet needs to send and receive Bitcoin. This is the most important part of your Bitcoin wallet. You need to write this down, you need to keep it somewhere safe, and you need to keep it somewhere private. The reason we only do demonstration now when I say don't use this wallet at home is because you're in a public place right now. You could write down the seed, someone could be looking over your shoulder, and later your Bitcoin's gone because they have your seed. Okay. I don't know, there might be Bitcoin on there, I'm not sure. If you load that seed into your side, yeah. I see, yeah. Yeah, well, if you have multiple locations across the world to store Bitcoin, you'd rather use something like multi-sig, where you have multiple seed phrases, different seed phrases to access the same Bitcoin. But to answer your question, it's mostly up to you. You need to store your seed phrase somewhere where nobody else can access it. It's very important. So I think maybe 2 or 3 copies. Make sure if it's a lot of Bitcoin, at least one of them is metal, so that the environment can't degrade that. And if you've got one in metal, maybe 2 or 3 copies in different locations. Make sure they're private and hidden, of course, yeah. What's that? In the same country? What do you mean, like? Oh yeah, yeah, you can do that. Again, if you have multiple locations to store Bitcoin and you've got a lot of Bitcoin, you might consider using something like multi-signature. Okay. Yeah. 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 And to add to that, I mean, you can store $1 billion in 12 words with Bitcoin. So this is easy to just hide in your garden or in a sock drawer or something like that. But if you've got $1 billion worth of gold or silver, you can't hide that. You know, you're gonna be digging for a long time. So that's what's great about Bitcoin. And yeah, Ricky, you're right. You can, with a metal seed plate, you can easily store 12 words, and it's very compact. You can store $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in something, you know, this big. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So you buy a seed plate, and it comes with nothing on it. You punch in your own seed words, either with a hammer, or you punch in particular columns that have the rows numbered. Okay, so for everyone setting up Blue, have we all got a seed phrase now? And hopefully you've written it down, or you shouldn't take a screenshot, but for this demonstration, maybe you can. I'll allow it, but at home you shouldn't. Okay, so I'll assume we're all there. Doesn't it? Okay. We'll write it down then. Some wallets will require that you re-enter the seed phrase to ensure you've written it down correctly. Blue Wallet doesn't have that requirement, so you should be able to just next screen. Now, Blue Wallet is set up and it's fully functional. You can start to receive and send Bitcoin, and that's how easy it is to set up a Bitcoin wallet. Some of you, well, many people new to self-custody might think, I need to do my address, my ID, because they're so used to the banking system. Maybe they signed up to an exchange like Luna or Vala. Bitcoin is just math. All you need to do is derive a seed phrase or a secret phrase, and you now have a fully functioning wallet. At this point, Blue Wallet is storing a copy of your seed phrase, and that seed derives all the keys you need. And these keys are to do that, just click on your wallet. So click on the blue space here. Hello. Yeah, so click on the blue space here on 0 BTC. And at the bottom, you can click on receive. At this point, you'll see your Bitcoin address. So here it gives you your Bitcoin address in text format. So you can click on that to copy it, or it's got the QR code. And Bitcoin sent to this address is yours because you are the owner of that seed phrase. This Bitcoin's not going to belong to Luna or Vala or some sort of a custodial party. So whoever's with me, show me a Bitcoin address and I'll send someone some Bitcoin. I see. That's the first screen I see, so you win. Actually, can you come over here? Let's do this. So yeah, I've got Sparrow Wallet over here. I'm going to oopsie. Yeah, there's no seed phrases on here. Let me just send it from my phone. Do you have your seed phrase written down? Okay. All right, so you have some Bitcoin over there. Hopefully, are you on the Wi-Fi?
I'm on
Okay. That will show up in a second.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, if you can just show everyone, he's got some Bitcoin there. So he showed me his address. The address was used to receive coins, and that can be made public. So you share that Bitcoin address with anyone who's sending you Bitcoin. It's kind of like your email address. You just share it with anyone. Every time you receive Bitcoin, you'll go into Blue Wallet, and it will give you a brand new, fresh Bitcoin address. It's always best to use a new address each time. Earlier, we saw the seed phrase, just to remind you, that is used to send coins indirectly, and that must be kept private. And you can use this seed in most Bitcoin wallets to access that Bitcoin. I've already gone on a lot about this, but the seed phrase is very important. If your wallet disappears tomorrow, so if Blue Wallet is gone tomorrow, he can use that seed phrase he's written down to access the coins using a different software. So he might download Sparrow Wallet and import that same seed to Sparrow, and he can still access the Bitcoin. So Blue Wallet is only a tool that uses the seed to spend the coins. And yeah, you need to keep it as secure as possible, like we were speaking earlier. Put it in metal, put it in your garden, something like that. And anyone else with your seed can spend your coins. And we're going to demonstrate that today, so I'm going to steal that Bitcoin from you, unfortunately. But let us do a Sparrow Wallet demonstration here. So I'm going to import his seed that he created in Blue Wallet into my Sparrow Wallet, and we'll see the Bitcoin's going to appear on my end. So here I am on Sparrow. Let me just connect to a different server. So here in Sparrow, I'm going to create a new wallet. I'm going to call this Adopting Bitcoin Cape Town 26. And I'm going to create a new wallet. So Sparrow is very technical. It's got a whole bunch of information here. In this case, we're just setting up a basic software wallet. So I'll click this over here. I'm going to change this to a 12-word seed phrase. And then if you can just read me your seed phrase. Never do this, but read it to me, and I'm going to type it in. Sorry? Yeah, just read it out to me so everyone can hear it. Yeah, this is the worst. I'm about to steal it from you, so this is what you do if you want it stolen. But yeah, let's hear it. Love. Loud.
You need to talk loud.
Attract.
Thanks. The fourth one is RIB. R-I-B. Correct. The fifth one is hand away. The sixth one is law. Seventh one is check. The eighth one is melody. Melody. Ninth word is slide. 10th word is glove. Glove. Like, yeah. And 11th word is corn. Corn, yeah. And then broccoli.
Yeah. Oh, so he created a seed phrase. He's got a Bitcoin wallet set up on Blue. And I'm just demonstrating now that with his seed phrase, I can effectively steal his Bitcoin. I'm not really stealing it. I'm simply accessing the coins that exist within that wallet. So that's the whole seed phrase. By the way, if any of you were listening to him and typed that out as well, you'd be in the same boat as me. We're both going to try steal his coins. Whoever's first wins. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So if I message you and I say, I am Blue Wallet, I need your seed phrase to do something, it's a scam. Never give your seed phrase to anyone online asking for it. They'll do a whole bunch of different tricks. So you might get an email from, let's say, Blue Wallet. They'll say, there's a firmware upgrade. We need to do this upgrade for you. Give us your seed to apply for the upgrade. It's always a scam. Never put your seed phrase anywhere online.
Can I show you a prime example of this?
Yeah.
My boomer aunt yesterday sent me a text that she... My boomer aunt sent me a text yesterday that she got. Dear trader, your Luno account is not secure on the 2026 SSL server and BTC wallet will be deleted in 24 hours. Tap this link to update. Team Luno. Never tap.
Yeah.
Never tap.
It's always a scam, of course. That's a lovely example. Thank you for that. Okay, so I've typed out the seed phrase. I'm basically going to click on Create Wallet now and then import that wallet. There's a whole bunch of different settings here that I'm using. We're not going to worry about that. That's some advanced features. But Sparrow lets you go more in depth inside of your Bitcoin wallet. Blue Wallet and Sparrow use the same default settings. So if I click on Apply over here, I'm not going to set a password. Always set a password. Remember, everything we do today is just for demo. And we're going to give this a second and see what happens. So right now it's just loading. And then if I go to... connection failed. There we go. In transactions, I have the Bitcoin I've sent to him. So we've got 0.001 BTC over there, and we can see the date, 31st of Jan, 1:30 p.m. So that's the Bitcoin transaction I've just sent to him. If I click on my UTXOs, there we go. We have that Bitcoin. Now, if I were an attacker, for real, if I was actually trying to scam him, I would quickly send this Bitcoin out of this wallet. So I'd click on send, and I'd send it to a different wallet that he doesn't control the seed phrase for. Because me and him both can spend this Bitcoin right now. And if I'm an attacker, I'm going to get this out as quick as possible. Yeah, so that's a very important lesson to go through. The same seed phrase used in different software accesses the same Bitcoin. Let's go back to our presentation. By the way, you can keep that Bitcoin, just sweep it out of there as quick as you can. So, yeah. Any Bitcoin in Blue Wallet would appear in Sparrow Wallet because they have the same seed. Different wallets, same seed, same address, the same Bitcoin. So if you don't mind, just do me a favor, go into Blue Wallet again and click on Receive. And I'll predict what address will appear. So we already used this address at the top. So he should see this next address in blue. So I'll click on receive. So I'll just predict that your address ends in 6PG8PT, if you can confirm. If you click on receive. It's going to be that, so we don't have to actually have confirmation. But we have the same addresses in both of our wallets. 8PT it ends in. Okay. So this is what I really want to hammer down. Wallets simply use that seed phrase to access your Bitcoin, and therefore Bitcoin security is ultimately all about securing the seed phrase. If you're using a seed phrase wallet, like we've just demonstrated today, you need to keep that seed as secure as possible, and therefore Bitcoin security is all about seed security, and that's where we get hardware wallets. If your Bitcoin wallet is on a phone or on a computer, like we've just set up today, the seed phrase is on an internet-connected device. So his phone and my computer both connect to the internet, which can be vulnerable to hacking and attacking. And that's why we have hardware wallets. So many of you may have heard of Trezor or Coldcard, maybe Blockstream Jade. These are devices that are built to secure your seed phrase in an offline environment. That's a Trezor. This is the first hardware wallet that was created by Trezor. Joseph from Trezor is somewhere here, so go chat to him about Trezor if you want to. And this is the key problem. So the hot wallets, they store keys on internet-connected devices, and cold wallets fix this. Cold wallets refer to these hardware wallets where the seed phrase is stored offline. There's some examples. I just mentioned them all except for Seed Signer. Seed Signer is a hardware wallet. You can build the components, buy the components yourself from a computer store, and you can actually build your own hardware wallet. And the way these devices work is they take this entire process we just did, everything we just did, except it's entirely offline. Starting from seed generation, your hardware wallet randomly generates your seed without connecting to the internet. It stores that seed phrase on the device in a secure chip, typically on a secure chip, and then it signs transactions offline. So when you spend your Bitcoin using a hardware wallet, your transaction is approved and signed on the device itself, which is offline, rather than on your computer. And I've already spoken about this, but hot wallets are like Blue Wallet and Sparrow Wallet, where the seed exists on the device. Those are hot wallets. Cold wallets is when the seed phrase is offline, so Trezor, Coldcard, and other hardware wallets like that. Offline storage. Now, we're wrapping up soon, and I just want to emphasize that self-custody is a journey. There are many ways to secure your coins. There's many different techniques. You can use advanced features like passphrases, multi-sig, and so on. And generally, as you increase the security of your setup, so as you add more moving parts, maybe you're running multi-sig, you're also increasing the complexity of your Bitcoin setup. I think, in my opinion, your job is to balance security and complexity. You should have the most secure setup you can build that you can reliably and comfortably manage. So if you're using a setup and you don't actually know what's going on, I don't think that's the healthiest thing. You should be able to reliably spend from your setup fairly easily because you understand it that well. And at the bottom, I emphasize, never use a self-custody system you do not understand or can reliably manage. So if you're just getting started, you've got a small amount of Bitcoin, you can just use Blue Wallet like we set up today, use Sparrow Wallet. This is great for learning and getting into things, so you can download Blue Wallet, Green Wallet, or Sparrow, and get the ball rolling. This is not the most secure option. Once you've got a bit more Bitcoin going, you can look into getting hardware wallets to secure your coins. Like I spoke of earlier, they store your seed phrase offline, making everything far more secure. And then for advanced users, if you already have a hardware wallet and you have larger amounts of Bitcoin and maybe you're a public figure, you're famous like Ricky over there, you might want to add a passphrase or use a multi-sig. Multi-sig is where you distribute different seed phrases across different locations. So if somebody comes to your home and tries to steal from your home, they can't access your Bitcoin because there's multiple seed phrases in different places. Here's an example, 3 seed phrases or 3 keys. Maybe you decide that any 2 are required to spend, so you could have 1 in Durban, 1 in Joburg, 1 in Cape Town, and an attacker needs to go to presumably Durban and Cape Town, or Durban and Joburg, or Joburg and Cape Town to steal your coins. It's a very, very difficult task. And yeah, that's everything. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask now. How much do we have? We've got some time, so yeah. Okay. It's live stream, so it will.
So, what can I say? I am, like you'd say, a novice. So, at this point, I've got the hard or the cold cold wallet, and I don't have a hard wallet yet. So, well, I just got one now with Sparrow. So my thing is, do I take majority of it, move it to the cold wallet, and then as I buy, move it into the hot wallet, and spend as I'd like, and then whatever's left over, push it into the cold wallet? Would that be the best choice?
So for your long-term storage, always put it in the hardware wallet, because the hardware wallet's most secure. So any Bitcoin you're storing for the long term, the larger value or the larger amount of Bitcoin, must stay in the cold wallet. And then if you want a small balance for spending, then you use something like Blue or Sparrow. So I wouldn't worry about going, doing from exchange to cold, to hot to cold, something like that. Long term is in cold, and short term in the spending wallet.
Yeah, it's sort of on those lines, but I guess I'm cheating a little bit. I've been onboarding people with a Moon wallet on the basis that Moon is fairly secure as a hot wallet, but it also gives you access to Lightning, although you can get caught out on the transaction fees on the Lightning side of things. I just wanted to get your view on using Moon. No, but it allows that ability. Yeah. I know what you mean, and I've been caught out before.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to add the details here that Moon is not really a Lightning wallet, as you mentioned earlier. It's doing submarine swaps, they are called. So it's live submarine swaps. So it's basically every transaction you do is an on-chain transaction sent to a Lightning wallet. So it's it's not opening channels, but it's kind of doing a swap every time you send it. So it's not really a Lightning transaction, it's a Lightning to on-chain to Lightning, kind of.
Okay, but to complicate it further, you can pay a Lightning invoice from Moon. So, yeah, I mean, I hear what both of you are saying. But I think the point you're getting to is that, like, Moon is a good halfway house because you can receive on-chain and send on-chain, and you can spend in Lightning. But you can do the same on Blink as well. But the beauty of Moon is that it's no KYC with no limits. So with Blink, there's no KYC for the lower level, but at like if you want to spend more, then there's KYC. So like finding all these tools, but the Moon, as you said earlier, like it can get expensive when you're trying to pay a Lightning invoice because of the submarine swaps that are happening, and because it's actually every time it is an on-chain transaction that's happening. So really confusing.
Probably, because that's what I set up with initially, and she was wondering why. That's what I set up my sister up with initially, and that's when I sent her when you sent the Bitcoin there, I sent the Bitcoin, and she's going, why haven't I got it yet? Because, she was expecting the Lightning movement. What would be your recommendation, if there another recommendation on a wallet that potentially gives you both options? Aqua. Right.
Bull, even better actually.
Bull Bitcoin. The new one that they've just, right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my question is on your advice on the simplest inheritance option. Yeah. So and also another one would be for the option of a passphrase. Is there a hot wallet that reliably does that other than Spiral wallet?
Yeah, so the first question was on inheritance. Is that right? Yeah, I don't know too much about inheritance. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but as long as people can take custody of your keys, I think they can access your Bitcoin. I actually asked Craig Raw this question yesterday in the talk yesterday, and he also mentioned we don't really have great tools for the moment, but they're being built. And it's more of a trust game. You need to trust that somebody who knows where your seed is will take custody of it properly. I don't know if you have a better answer than me about.
So I've given this problem quite a lot of thought in the South African context because there exist online tools for inheritance. Like, for example, Nunchuck has got an inheritance tool. Casa has got an inheritance tool. The problem is they're all priced in dollars, and when you work that out in rands, or even worse, if you work it out in like Zimbabwean dollars or Zambian kwacha or whatever, it's exorbitant and it'll consume your entire stack in like 20, 30 years. So it's not really a real solution. So the answer I've come to is making a paper-based solution where you use a passphrase. This is kind of to your second point. I think everyone who's using single sig should be using a passphrase because it means you can give your seed words to some trusted third party, like a family member. And even if they go rogue, they can't steal your Bitcoin because they don't have your passphrase. And then another family member can have your passphrase, and you bring those two together, and they can recover your Bitcoin. So you can keep it really simple by having written down on one sheet of paper your seed words, and on another sheet of paper your passphrase, and an instruction to say, when I die, bring these two together. Something like that, right? It's obviously more complex than that with more nuance around it, but the mechanism of how it functions is basically those two things. Yeah, so if anyone wants to chat to me about that, I've actually written up a whole thing on it. But it's for the African context, it makes the most sense because once you set it up, there's no ongoing fees. There's no tech you have to rely on. There's no cloud. Because like if your boomer aunt, like mine who almost got scammed, if your boomer aunt, her husband passes away and she needs to access the Bitcoin, and they're like, oh, go to Casa and get it from Casa. But now Casa's gone bust, and they must now download an encrypted version of this file off Google Drive, whatever. My boomer aunt is not getting that Bitcoin, whereas like she knows how pen and paper works.
Yeah, and the second question was, do any hot wallets reliably allow? They do. You go into advanced features in Blue, and you can do that. Also Sparrow Wallet as well. And another note on passphrases is if you do give somebody a seed and they need a passphrase to access it, the passphrase should be sufficiently secure so that the person who holds the seed can't just try crack that passphrase. So your passphrase, it can be anything that you type in. It shouldn't be the name of your dog. Something like that they can guess. Yeah.
As a complete novice, now I've got moon, blue, aqua. I mean, how many fucking things do you have to have? And you still got to remember where everything is. Wow, what's the point?
N+1.
What's the point?
Complexity.
Yeah, I guess you need...
You even get off the trail. You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, for long-term storage, I would say you can set up a hardware wallet, so you have one long-term storage solution, and then like Ricky said, maybe you have one Lightning wallet. How many Lightning wallets do you have? Change it, pick one that you like most, and stick with that.
So the next question is what's Lightning?
Ah.
I'm a complete novice.
Yeah. Okay.
But so Ricky, thank you. We've now got a Trezor
Model T.
wallet.
Smuggle that across the border.
Thank you. So we're going to set that up, and that's going to be where you're going to store your Bitcoin, and then you're going to have a Lightning wallet separately.
Yeah. So. No, the seed phrase.
You could actually burn that. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah. Because you've got your seed, and your Bitcoin lives on your 12 words are your Bitcoin.
Remember how he read me his seed phrase? Yeah, yeah. So with that seed phrase, that's all is required to access your coins. And that's why I stole them from him, to demonstrate that the seed, doesn't matter what tool you're using, it is the Bitcoin, basically. Yeah.
So I think that's probably answered my question. So with the Trezor, I've now got, I'm just trying to think back because I haven't done this part for a while, but you've got a hidden and unhidden wallets when you set it up, and I've got a seed phrase. I mean, I've got the password to get in. So now I pass on, my wife then gets access to that, but with all these hidden and unhidden wallets, does it not matter with all these different addresses? Because how much detail do you have to put? So if she gets the seed phrases, will she be able to track all the different wallets? So if I've got hidden, unhidden 1, unhidden 2, and all the addresses, how does my heirs go and find this mess that I've, or this history that's created there?
Yeah. So in Trezor, a passphrase wallet is referred to as a hidden wallet. So I would imagine you're typing an extra phrase to unlock the hidden wallet. Is that right? Yeah. So if you've got multiple, I would recommend maybe trying to simplify that first. Maybe consolidate them to one if you can, unless you're doing that for a reason. But the best way would be for them to understand how many passphrases you have. I'm not sure how the Trezor user interface works, but it might not say there's 3 hidden wallets here. It probably doesn't, because then it would defeat the purpose of the hidden wallet. So they would just need to understand how many hidden wallets or how many passphrases exist on top of your seed. And then they'd need to know that with the seed plus these secret phrases, there's X amount of wallets. Does that make sense?
There's your answer there. That's the solution. So setting up a paper-based Bitcoin will.
So
This is a paper-based Bitcoin will. Yeah, the paper-based Bitcoin will, because as much as we can say have one wallet, one Lightning wallet, one cold storage wallet, that's the longer you're in Bitcoin, the more wallets you get. That's just never how it goes. You always just accumulate more. So the will is divided into 2 parts. One half, which is the instructions of what needs to happen, is kept with all of your documents. So all of, like when you pass away, there's a certain set of documents that are going to go to your family, right? The second half goes to what you call your executor, and that would be a trusted person in your family, like let's say a sibling of yours, or maybe one of your children. They keep the other half, and both of them are in a tamper-evident plastic bag, and there's clear instruction that when you pass away, these bags are to be opened and then follow the instructions. And then you can have as much complexity as you want. You can have 100 different wallets, set up differently, but there's clear instruction on what needs to happen. And then you just review that once every few years, like you would with your will normally, because your structure might change slightly. Maybe one of your kids is an asshole and you cut him out the will. Like you can do all these different things. And having that space for complexity is quite important, because the reality is that it is going to be complex, just like your estate.
Yeah, no, we have some of journeys actually, and our wills department are actually looking at different type of solutions now in this space. So it's interesting on these conferences, more and more the questions being asked, what about if? And currently, there's just a huge gap in the market. It's simply not attended to properly.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's you and I chat about this, because I've figured this out, because otherwise it's an absolute nightmare, and the sats are going to get lost.
Can I add something here as well? Another great way to learn about how to use Bitcoin, multi-sig, and all this stuff. I'm not sure how many of you heard about testnet. So testnet are free coins. It's like it works exactly the same, but you can play and lost coins, nothing happen. So instead, risking your fund, if you are learning, Sparrow wallet, Blue wallet, any wallet has the option to go switch network. Instead mainnet, you go to testnet. You can receive free coin, and you can learn by your family, your kids, your wife, your husband, and you can play there as much as you want. Just remember testnet.
All right, I think that wraps up the Cole Tuckett self-custody workshop. That was insane. Thank you so much, Cole. Can we give a round of applause for Cole? Thank you. Please make sure to check out his YouTube channel, Southern Bitcoiner, for a lot of tutorials and more content. Sorry to the live stream watchers there. We had a bit of a workshop at the back of the workshop, but hopefully you could hear what was going on.